The year was 2525, and humanity had long outgrown the confines of Earth. A sprawling network of colonies now spanned across dozens of star systems, from the outer reaches of the Orion Arm to the lush jungles of Kepler-62f. In the heart of the galaxy stood the Galactic Council, a coalition of species who had established peace through centuries of cooperation. But this fragile unity would soon be tested in ways no one could have predicted. The Galactic Wonders were a long-forgotten relic of ancient civilizations, artifacts scattered across the galaxy, shrouded in mystery. They were said to hold the key to unlocking the true potential of the universe, yet no species had ever come close to uncovering their secrets. The stories of these wonders had drifted into the realm of myth and legend, until one day, a strange signal from the farthest reaches of the galaxy brought the whispers back into the light. The signal was faint, but it was unmistakable, a beacon from the long-dead civilization of the Mlac, a species thought to have disappeared millennia ago. It was a coded message sent on a frequency no one had ever encountered before. Experts were baffled by its contents, but the data they had retrieved was clear. The Galactic Wonders were real, and their location was hidden in the stars, waiting to be discovered. Captain Adrian Valens, the seasoned leader of the exploratory vessel Aegis, had always believed humanity's future lay beyond the stars. He had navigated through asteroid fields, encountered hostile alien lifeforms, and led daring missions into uncharted territories, but nothing had prepared him for this. The signal had ignited a flame of curiosity that burned brighter than anything he had ever felt. The possibilities were endless, and the opportunity to discover the lost secrets of the galaxy was too great to ignore. Adrian's crew was a diverse mix of humans and alien lifeforms, brought together by their shared passion for exploration. The Aegis was more than just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's place in the galaxy. Its sleek hull gleamed under the light of distant stars, and its advanced technology made it one of the most capable vessels in the galaxy. Among the crew was Dr. Lyra Uldris, an expert in ancient civilizations and the lead archaeologist on the mission. Her work had uncovered fragments of lost cultures on various planets, but the Mlac ruins were unlike anything she had studied before. There was something almost alive about the ruins. She couldn't shake the feeling that they held more than just physical artifacts. They contained knowledge, a form of wisdom that transcended time. "What do you think, Captain?" Dr. Uldris asked, staring at the holographic projection of the Mlac system displayed in front of them. "Is it possible the Mlac really left something behind?" Adrian studied the projection, his face a mask of concentration. The coordinates led them to a cluster of stars, deep in uncharted space. The Mlac were known for their advanced technologies, their ability to manipulate the fabric of space itself, and their seemingly immortal lifespan. Yet, no one knew what had caused their sudden disappearance. Some believed they had transcended physical form. Others thought they had simply vanished into the unknown. "We're going to find out, Dr. Uldris," Adrian said, his voice steady but filled with an undercurrent of excitement. "The signal's been dormant for centuries. But now it's been activated. It's calling us, and I think we're meant to answer." The crew gathered in the ship's command center as the Aegis charted a course toward the Mlac system. As the ship's engines hummed to life, a sense of anticipation gripped everyone aboard. They had no idea what awaited them, but the thrill of the unknown was something no explorer could resist. With a sudden jolt, the Aegis leapt into faster-than-light travel, leaving the familiar stars behind as they ventured deeper into uncharted space. No one aboard the ship knew that this journey would soon turn into something far more dangerous than anyone could have predicted. As they moved farther from the safe borders of known space, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. And in the darkness ahead, the first of the Galactic Wonders waited, its secrets veiled in ancient riddles, ready to be uncovered by the unlikeliest of species, humanity. Adrian glanced out the viewport, his thoughts a whirlwind of possibilities. The Galactic Wonders had been waiting for someone to unlock their potential, and it seemed that someone would be them. The Aegis cut through the void of space at faster-than-light speeds, its sleek hull vibrating gently with the rhythm of the engines. The crew, though seasoned in their own right, couldn't ignore the electric buzz of anticipation that filled the air. Each passing day brought them closer to the Mlac system, but the journey was not without its tension. Captain Adrian Valens stood at the ship's helm, his gaze fixed on the holographic star map before him. The stars blinked softly as the ship accelerated toward its destination. Despite his calm demeanor, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was off, an odd silence that seemed to hang in the air, unspoken but palpable. The Mlac were an enigmatic species, and if their legacy was as powerful as the signal suggested, then the Aegis might be walking into a trap. Still, he couldn't allow doubt to slow them down. "Captain," came Dr. Lyra Aldris's voice from behind him, pulling him from his thoughts. "I've been reviewing the data on the Mlac ruins again. There's something strange about the structures they left behind. They appear almost alive. I can't explain it, but it's as though they were designed to respond to specific energy frequencies. The signal we intercepted might not just be a beacon, it could be a key." Adrian turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "A key to what?" "To unlocking something more," she replied, her voice quiet but filled with certainty. "I believe the Mlac didn't just disappear, they might have evolved or transitioned into a new form. These ruins could be a type of interface, an entry point to something beyond our understanding. We could be on the brink of uncovering an entire new layer of existence." Adrian's brow furrowed, but he didn't respond immediately. The idea of a species evolving into something beyond physical form was a tantalizing one, but it was also a dangerous one. The last thing they needed was to become part of an ancient experiment they couldn't comprehend. Suddenly, the ship's systems began to hum in a low, vibrating tone. The alarms rang out in unison, but the sound wasn't one of danger. It was an odd, harmonic melody resonating through the ship's systems. "What's happening?" asked Adrian, his voice laced with concern. "Captain," Lieutenant Eric Vega, the ship's communications officer, called out from his station. "We're receiving another signal. It's not like anything I've ever seen before, encrypted like the first one, but there's something alive about it. It's almost like it's calling to us." The frequencies matching the harmonic signature of the Mlac ruins? Adrian's mind raced. The first signal had been their invitation. Now, this new signal was confirming their arrival. But why did it feel more like a warning than a welcome? "Do we know where it's coming from?" he asked. Eric's fingers danced across the console. "It's coming from deep within the system. There's a planet uncharted. According to our scans, it's completely uninhabited, but there's something strange. No radiation, no heat signatures. It's almost as if the planet itself is dormant." "Dormant?" Adrian echoed, raising an eyebrow. "Or hidden?" Lyra stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. "There's a distinction, Captain. A dormant world may not have been touched for millennia. A hidden one, however, could mean something entirely different. If it's hidden, then someone or something doesn't want us to find it." The crew fell silent, the gravity of their mission settling in. They had ventured into the unknown many times before, but this was different. This wasn't just an exploration, it was an unraveling of the very fabric of their understanding. And as they neared the planet, the silence grew even more unsettling. The planet itself was a barren world, covered in a dense fog that obscured the surface. They couldn't detect any signs of life, but the deeper they penetrated its orbit, the more the signal intensified, almost as if it were luring them down. "Prepare for descent," Adrian ordered. "We're going in." The crew moved swiftly, but there was no denying the unease that gripped them. They were no longer sure if they were explorers. They were intruders, and something on that world was waiting for them. As the Aegis descended through the thick mist, the surface of the planet finally came into view, a desolate landscape, cracked and scarred, dotted with massive structures that resembled ancient temples. They were colossal, built with geometric precision, their sharp edges cutting into the mist like forgotten monoliths. The silence was overwhelming. Suddenly, as the ship hovered above the planet's surface, a deep vibration passed through the hull, like the hum of an enormous machine. And in that moment, as the planet's fog began to swirl and shift, the crew understood. They were not alone. From the depths of the planet, massive shapes began to emerge, slow but deliberate, gigantic constructs half submerged in the mist, with intricate patterns carved into their surfaces. They moved with purpose, but the eerie silence that surrounded them suggested they had not been awakened by the crew's arrival. These were the Guardians, the Mlac's silent protectors, a force older and more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Adrian felt a chill run down his spine. This was only the beginning. The Guardians emerged from the mist like spectral giants, their colossal forms shimmering with an unnatural energy. They were constructed from a dark, metallic material that seemed to absorb the light around them, their surfaces etched with glowing symbols that pulsed in rhythm with the signal. Each one towered over the Aegis, their eyes, if one could call them that, two luminous orbs embedded in their centers, watching with an intelligence that seemed ancient and unfathomable. Captain Adrian Vallon stood at the command console, his heart pounding in his chest as he tried to make sense of what he was seeing. The ship's sensors were going haywire, feeding him contradictory data. Massive energy surges from beneath the surface, fluctuating gravitational fields, and atmospheric distortions that couldn't be explained by conventional physics. The planet was alive in ways that defied all known science. "Captain, they're not attacking," Dr. Lyra Aldris said from her station, her voice a mix of awe and caution. "They're observing us." Adrian's eyes were fixed on the hollow view screen, where the Guardians slowly circled the Aegis, their movements deliberate but unhurried. The deep vibrations in the ship had stopped, but the unsettling hum of their presence lingered in the air like a heavy fog. The crew was frozen, unsure of how to proceed. Lieutenant Eric Vega's fingers moved over his console, trying to get a clearer reading. "There's an energy field surrounding the planet. It's unlike anything I've encountered before, almost as if the Guardians are connected to it. If we try to break through, we might trigger something catastrophic." Adrian nodded grimly. "We need to proceed with caution. Let's make contact." "We can't just approach them with open communication, Captain," Lyra interjected. "These constructs could have been designed as sentinels. If they're reacting to our presence, it's possible they were made to judge us, to see if we are worthy of whatever is buried here. But if they were made by the Mlak, then they are more than just machines. They might be testing us in ways we can't even imagine." A tense silence filled the bridge. Adrian clenched his fists around the armrests of his command chair. There was no going back now. The mystery of the Mlak and the Galactic Wonders lay before them, hidden beneath the surface of this eerie world. But first they would have to survive the Guardians. "Prepare the landing party," Adrian ordered. "We're going down." Dr. Aldris, Lieutenant Vega, and a small team of the Aegis' best crew members donned their gear as they made their way to the airlock. They didn't know what awaited them on the surface, but there was no denying that the Guardians were waiting for something, and they had been awakened by their arrival. The descent was slow, the Aegis' thrusters cutting through the thick fog as the crew made their way to an ancient temple structure just beyond the horizon. The massive Guardians remained unmoving, their bodies casting shadows that stretched across the barren landscape. The atmosphere was thick and cold, each breath of air feeling like a gust from a distant past. As the landing party stepped onto the cracked, dust-covered surface of the planet, the silence enveloped them. The sky above was a dull, murky gray, the only light emanating from the distant glow of the Guardians and the temple in front of them. The team moved cautiously, weapons holstered but at the ready. Every footstep echoed in the emptiness. "This place feels wrong," Lieutenant Vega muttered, his eyes darting around nervously. "I don't think wrong is the right word," Lyra said softly, her voice filled with awe. "This place is alive, in its own way. The Mlak built something far beyond anything we could ever imagine." The temple was a massive structure, its walls etched with intricate carvings that seemed to pulse with energy, reacting to their presence. As they approached, a large door opened before them, the stones sliding away with a smoothness that suggested technology far more advanced than anything humanity had ever encountered. Inside, the air grew colder and the glow from the walls intensified, casting a haunting light across the chamber. At the center of the room stood a pedestal, covered in symbols that mirrored the ones found on the Guardians. Upon the pedestal rested a small, crystalline object, shimmering with an iridescent glow. "That's it," Lyra whispered, moving toward it. "The key, the heart of the Mlak's power. The Galactic Wonder." As she reached out to touch it, the entire chamber trembled and a deep, rumbling sound filled the air. The Guardians outside shifted for the first time, their enormous forms moving toward the temple, their eyes now glowing brighter than ever. Adrian's voice rang out over the comms, his tone urgent. "Get away from it. Now." But it was too late. As Lyra's fingers brushed the crystalline object, a shockwave of energy erupted from the pedestal, sending the entire room into chaos. The walls shook violently and the chamber's temperature plummeted, causing the air to freeze with an unnatural chill. The Guardians outside began to move faster, their immense bodies trembling with what seemed like rage. Then from the pedestal an eerie voice boomed, echoing through the chamber. Asterisk asterisk, the test has begun, asterisk asterisk. The voice reverberated through the team's minds and suddenly, they were no longer standing in a room. They were inside a shifting, malleable landscape, an infinite expanse of stars and swirling light, trapped in a space between realities. What is this?" Lyra gasped, her voice trembling. The Guardians outside the temple were no longer just silent observers. They were judges and their eyes were fixed on the team. They had been tested, and the galaxy was about to see what humanity was truly capable of. In the distance, a vast, shadowed figure appeared, a new presence, more terrifying and ancient than anything the Aegis had encountered. The true trial had begun. The moment the voice spoke, the ground beneath the crew's feet vanished. The world around them blurred, twisting into an impossible kaleidoscopic vortex of light and sound. The feeling was indescribable, like falling through space itself, only to land in a place where time and space no longer adhered to the laws they understood. The chamber, the guardians, and even the surface of the planet were gone. They were in a new dimension, a place where reality bent like soft clay, shifting with every thought. Adrian's heart raced. He grabbed Lyra's arm to steady her as the world seemed to reassemble in fragments. His voice cut through the disorienting swirl of light and shadows. Everyone stay close. Don't let the environment pull you apart. The rest of the team struggled to regain their bearings. Vega's fingers were clutched around his weapon, but there was no use for it here. The gravity was different, like the weight of the atmosphere itself had been pulled away. They weren't just in a different place, they were in a different state of being. The voice, Lyra said, her voice barely audible in the strangeness of their surroundings, I recognize the words. It's not just a test. It's a trial. Trial for what? Adrian demanded, his frustration rising. His mind reeled. We're not prepared for any of this. It's not about being prepared, Lyra said, her eyes wide with realization. It's about being worthy. The Mlack didn't leave these tests to choose who could wield their power, they left them to measure who could survive it. And if we fail, her voice faltered. If we fail, we might never leave this place, Vega finished grimly, glancing around at the swirling chaos. And if they're watching, he paused, eyes narrowing. Then we're not just here by accident. The crew fell silent as the voice echoed again, this time reverberating in their minds, as if the very fabric of their consciousness was being tested. The trial of will begins now. Only the strong may leave. Only the worthy shall return. The stars above shifted, and from the endless abyss of swirling light, a massive shape began to materialize. It was immense, its body composed of shimmering, translucent energy, like the silhouette of a god, with tendrils of darkness and light cascading from it in a vortex of cosmic force. The figure towered over them, its face an abstract void, an infinite space filled with darkness. The Mlack were once as you are now, weak, fleeting, fragile. But they proved themselves in the crucible of ages. The test is now yours, the voice echoed again, vibrating their bodies. What will you sacrifice? What will you do to claim the power of the Galactic Wonders? Adrian's pulse quickened. He had heard legends of trials from old mythologies, of gods testing mortals for wisdom, strength, or purity of heart. But this was something beyond legends. The Mlack had left something ancient behind, and it was up to them to prove their worth. The ethereal figure, or rather the trial, stretched out a hand, an enormous, incorporeal appendage made of pure, shifting energy. It was an invitation and a challenge, a gauntlet thrown at their feet. Suddenly the air thickened. Time seemed to stand still. And then, without warning, a series of holographic visions erupted around the crew, each vision an impossible situation designed to test their deepest fears and darkest regrets. Each of them was plunged into an alternate reality, something they knew but did not fully understand. For Vega, it was the specter of his past, his previous command, a mission gone wrong, a fleet lost to an ambush. He could see himself, standing helplessly as his crew was torn apart, his failure weighing heavily on his conscience. His hands trembled and his mind screamed, trying to claw him back to reality. Dr. Aldris was trapped in a scenario where all her past discoveries were wiped away, where the civilizations she had uncovered were erased from existence, as if they had never existed. She saw herself walking through endless ruins, never finding the answers she had spent her entire life seeking. The weight of failure crushed her, but she knew this was a test of her resolve. For Adrian, it was his fear of becoming irrelevant. The future of humanity, the Aegis, and the mission were all slipping away from him. He stood before a mirror, but instead of his reflection he saw the faces of his loved ones, faded, blurred, disappearing into oblivion, leaving him alone. His heart ached and his mind screamed out for a purpose, a reason to keep pushing forward. Each trial, a vision of terror designed to break them, to prove that their will was not strong enough to endure what lay ahead. And the voice, the judge was always there, whispering in the depths of their minds. You are weak, you are nothing, leave now and your lives will be spared. Fail and you will remain here lost forever, Adrian's breathing was heavy as he fought against the visions. The team was not physically injured, but the psychological toll was immediate. Their greatest fears were laid bare before them, challenging every ounce of their resolve. It's not real, Adrian thought, shaking off the panic. It's just a trial. We have to hold on. We have to pass it, Dr. Aldris closed her eyes, breathing deeply. We are not the Mlack, she muttered to herself. We don't need to be them to survive. We are human, and that's enough. Slowly, each member of the team began to push through the visions, clinging to their own personal truths, their own will to survive. They fought the projections of their fear, choosing instead to embrace the strength within them, the strength that had carried humanity this far across the stars. Then, as if sensing their resolve, the figure above them shifted. The voice no longer taunted them, it was softer, more contemplative. The trial is not over. But you have passed the first test. Your will remains. Now you must face the second ***. With those words, the energy figure dissipated into the light, leaving only the stars around them and the cold silence of the trial's next stage. Adrian exhaled slowly, his resolve hardening. They had survived the first test. But now they were more than just explorers, they were contenders for the greatest prize the galaxy had ever known. And they would not let fear stop them. They would see the galactic wonders unfold. The voice lingered in the air like an aftershock, vibrating the very fabric of the world around them. The team stood frozen, sweat trickling down their foreheads as they adjusted to the strange ethereal realm that surrounded them. But unlike before, the overwhelming presence of the energy figure had subsided. The stars above them pulsed faintly, a soft rhythm that seemed to call to them, beckoning them forward. We survived the first test, Adrian muttered, wiping his brow. But we can't let our guard down. If the Mlack designed these trials, there's no telling what the next one will be. Dr. Aldris nodded, still shaking off the remnants of the hallucinations. The first trial was about willpower. It tested our resolve, our ability to face our deepest fears and push through them. But the Mlack were not just conquerors of space, they were architects of power. If they left behind this trial, they wanted to see who would withstand the true cost of that power. Vega's voice cracked through the quiet, an edge of disbelief lacing his words. So what happens now? We've passed the first test, but what else do they want from us? What more can they take? The energy around them rippled, as if responding to Vega's words, and the ground shifted beneath their feet once more. But this time, there was no disorienting descent into another dimension. Instead, the world around them began to solidify, coalescing into something that felt real. Before them stood a massive, sprawling city, its architecture grand and otherworldly, built of materials that defied conventional understanding. The structure stretched into the heavens, pulsating with the same eerie glow that had enveloped the Guardians. Yet this city felt ancient, worn, as though it had been abandoned long ago, but its vibrancy remained preserved in time. This is the Mlack capital, Lyra whispered, her voice filled with awe. This must be where they ruled from, where they left behind their legacy. As they moved forward, they could feel the weight of history pressing down on them. The walls of the buildings were inscribed with symbols similar to the ones the Guardians bore, an intricate language that appeared to be alive, shifting, and changing as though responding to their presence. Each step they took made the city seem more alive, as if the very stones recognized them. We're not just walking through the past, Vega said, his voice heavy. This place feels aware. As if it's watching us, testing us again. Then, as if the city had been waiting for them, a deep rumbling echoed through the streets. The ground shook violently and the buildings around them trembled. A massive door, far larger than anything they had encountered, slowly creaked open before them. It revealed a vast hall inside, the heart of the Mlack city. A pedestal stood in the center, and atop it rested a glowing orb pulsating with energy. It was the source, the heart of the Mlack's power, the object they had been seeking. It radiated an overwhelming energy that they could feel pressing against their very souls. But then the voice returned, more solemn now. To claim this power, to unlock the galactic wonders, you must offer something precious in return. Power demands sacrifice, ***. The air grew heavy and the team exchanged uneasy glances. They had been warned before that there would be a price. But none of them had anticipated how deeply it would cut. What does it mean, sacrifice? Adrian asked, his voice taut with urgency. What do we have to give? The voice was silent for a moment before responding, its tone a somber echo. The price of power is always greater than what you are willing to give. You will each be forced to make a choice, an impossible one. The cost of wielding the power of the Mlack is not just your strength, but your very soul, ***. A cold chill swept over the team. This was no longer just a test of physical prowess or even will. This was a choice that would define who they were, not just as explorers but as individuals. The weight of their mission, of humanity's potential, now hung in the balance. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the glowing orb. We can't just leave it. Not now. This is the key to everything, the secrets of the Mlac, the power that could change the course of our galaxy. If we fail here, we may never understand what they left behind. Vega's hand trembled on his weapon as he looked around at his team. But we don't know what's at stake here. What if the price is too high? What if the Mlac gave up their power for a reason? Adrian closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of his crew's uncertainty. They had all seen their share of battles, of trials, but this was different. This was no mere fight against an enemy. This was a test of their very humanity. Then the voice returned, and with it, the world around them seemed to shift once more. ***, you stand at the crossroads of your future, the future of your species. The choice will be yours. Will you sacrifice your essence for the glory of the galaxy? Or will you walk away and leave the mysteries of the Mlac buried forever? The pedestal before them began to glow brighter, almost blindingly so. And in that moment, Adrian knew that they couldn't turn back. They had come too far. The human race had always been a species that reached for the stars, that dared to uncover the unknown, no matter the cost. But what would the cost be this time? He took a deep breath. We can't walk away. We've come too far. Whatever it takes, we'll face it. Lyra, her gaze resolute, nodded. Together. We'll face whatever it is, together. Vega exhaled slowly, his eyes narrowing with determination. Let's claim it then. For humanity. They approached the pedestal as the orb pulsed with intense energy. Each of them could feel its pull, the temptation to touch it overwhelming. Yet deep down they knew that doing so would forever change them. They had no idea how, only that the price would be high. Adrian stretched his hand toward the orb, his fingers trembling. The team followed suit, each of them silently preparing for the moment that would define the course of their journey. And as their hands made contact with the orb, the entire hall was consumed by a blinding flash of light. The price of power had been paid, and humanity's destiny was about to unfold in ways they could never have anticipated. The moment their hands made contact with the orb, the universe itself seemed to collapse around them. A wave of searing light surged outward, swallowing the room in a brilliant, white-hot explosion. Adrian felt his body go weightless, his mind overwhelmed by a rush of visions, flashes of the Mlac, their rise to power, their fall, and the reason they had left behind such a test. The energy from the orb coursed through him, filling every fiber of his being with an intensity he had never known. It was as if his consciousness was expanding, reaching out to touch every star, every planet, every galaxy in the vastness of space. The pressure of the power was unbearable, like holding the weight of the cosmos itself in his chest. Yet, just as quickly as it came, the light receded, and Adrian collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. He wasn't sure how long he had been lost in the torrent of energy. Seconds? Hours? Time itself had felt irrelevant. Captain? Lyra's voice pierced through the haze. Adrian looked up, his vision blurry, but he could make out the concerned faces of his crew. They too were on their knees, struggling to regain their bearings. Vega was the first to rise, wiping the sweat from his brow. What happened? Vega rasped. Did we pass? Adrian shook his head, trying to clear the fog in his mind. He could still feel the lingering pulse of the orb's energy deep within him, like a hum vibrating his very soul. The vision of the Mlac had been too much to fully comprehend. But there was something that lingered. It wasn't just power, Adrian said quietly, his voice hoarse. The Mlac didn't create this trial for glory or conquest. They created it for a purpose. Their power was not just technological, it was spiritual. They didn't just want to rule the stars, they wanted to transcend them. Lyra stood up, her eyes wide. Transcend? What do you mean? They left this power behind for us, for humanity, but why? Before Adrian could answer, the voice returned, no longer echoing in their minds but reverberating through the air around them, as if the very fabric of existence was speaking to them directly. ***, the Mlac were not gods. They were not immortals. They sought to unlock the secret of the universe, the power to ascend beyond their physical forms and become something greater, something eternal. ***. The air around them thickened, and the vast chamber of the Mlac city began to shimmer, revealing more than just the ruins of a once great civilization. The very structure of the city seemed to ripple, as though it were not just built of stone but woven from the fabric of space itself. The city wasn't dead, it was waiting, dormant, preserved for those who could unlock its mysteries. The trial you have endured was not merely to test your strength, but to prepare you for what comes next. The Mlak ascended to a higher plane of existence, leaving behind their knowledge, their power, and their legacy. They sought to evolve, to transcend, and now you too must choose. Will you use their gift to shape the future, or will you follow the same path they walked and become like them? The voice paused as if giving them time to absorb the enormity of what was being offered. The galactic wonders you seek are not just relics of the past. They are a map, an ancient blueprint, for the ascension of a species. Humanity, like the Mlak, stands on the precipice of a new era. But the question remains, are you prepared to pay the price for such knowledge? Adrian's heart pounded in his chest. The weight of the choice was unbearable. They had sought out the Mlak's secrets for the benefit of humanity, but now that they had uncovered the true purpose of the galactic wonders, the stakes had risen. This was no longer just about unlocking power, it was about evolving humanity, becoming something beyond what they had ever imagined. But at what cost? Lyra's voice broke the silence, trembling yet firm. What is the price? What do we have to give? The voice responded, its tone more grave than before. The price is your very humanity. To ascend, to become more than mortal, you must give up the things that make you, your fears, your doubts, your weaknesses. You must surrender the very essence of what you are, and become something greater, something eternal. To claim the Mlak's power is to become one with the stars themselves. But in doing so, you will leave behind everything that defines you. You will be changed forever. A chill ran down Adrian's spine as the full weight of the decision crashed down upon him. To take the power was to transcend, to become more. But to lose everything that made them human, their flaws, their emotions, their essence, was a price few could bear. Vega took a step back, his face pale. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if anyone can. Adrian turned to face his crew, his mind racing. He had led them to this point, and now the future of humanity lay in their hands. He could feel the weight of their gazes on him, each of them waiting for him to make the impossible choice. We can't just walk away, Adrian said finally, his voice steady but filled with uncertainty. The universe has changed. Humanity has changed. We've come this far and there's no going back now. But we have to make this choice together. He looked toward the orb once more. Its glow was softer now, almost inviting, as if it was waiting for them to make their decision. The power was theirs for the taking, but at a cost that defied comprehension. The crew stood in silence, each of them grappling with the enormity of the choice before them. Finally Lyra spoke, her voice calm but resolute. We've always reached for the stars. We've always pushed beyond what we thought was possible. If we choose this path, we do it for humanity, for the future. Vega's gaze softened, and he nodded, though his eyes were still filled with uncertainty. For humanity, he echoed, his voice thick with emotion. Adrian took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their decision settling upon him. He reached forward, his hand trembling as he touched the glowing orb once more. The moment his fingers made contact, the city around them erupted in a cascade of light, the energy swirling like a cosmic storm. The ground shook beneath their feet, and the stars above them exploded in a dazzling display of color. For a moment, it felt as though they were being torn apart, their very beings unraveling at the molecular level. But then the light faded and they were standing in a new place, a place beyond time, beyond reality. Humanity had ascended. And the galaxy, now forever changed, awaited the legacy of those who had chosen to transcend.